And in this video, I want to talk about using shapes to create characters. So I used all these different shapes to create these characters. And let me tell a bit why that's important. So when you create a character and you're using three the same sizes, so let me cut this. So I'm working in Adobe Photoshop. Made a video about it where I explain it. So here we're using three squares evenly. So it would already be more interesting if we're using a small shape, so like here, and then a medium shape, like here, it's a bit up, and a big shape. So that would already be a bit more interesting. But how we can make it even more interesting is to make it, to play around with that. Let's go for the medium shape, and then the small shape, and then the big shape. So this is already a bit more interesting. So let's make that a bit smaller so it fits. And now we have these three. Let's make it a bit smaller. And I think we can even make it a bit more interesting by maybe making this shape a bit like this. And this one is okay. And maybe make this one a bit longer. So you can play around with that more and more. Maybe let's push this even more. Make this a bit like this, and make this really wide. And you can even make it a bit more interesting if you're making these shapes a bit skewed. So you're trying to give it as much contrast as possible, and it's even more possible. So let's delete these middle two and put these two together. And let's draw on top of it to show what I mean. Put the opacity down. So I think we can make quite a funny character with these three shapes. So put the nose in the middle, then the eyes here. So it's all square and stuff. And then you get, think of the character from Up that also has that. And they basically also did that because they wanted to make a character that is following the rules and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks kind of boring and stiff and so on. So here, continuing it. So like this. But what would be more interesting is to play around a bit more with those shapes. So make him, give him a big nose like here. I'm also doing that in the head, making a big nose, even bigger mouth, but maybe give him these small eyes. And maybe with this, I want to give him a bit more forehead. So maybe something like this. Give him these eyebrows. And these really big ears. So something like this, and that hair, and also play around with these shapes. So I'm trying to go play around with big, small, and medium. So small thigh, and then this compared to the thigh, this really big, big negative shape, and then his pants are super big, but maybe we can give him these angles here, so it's not all straightforward. And maybe this belt here that's keeping everything together. And then he's having his arms like this, and give him these feet like this. So you still have this shape here, maybe. So this is already making for more of a funny character than this. So in the style I like to work it, this is wrong and this is good. Of course, if you want, you can use this style and you can draw for everything like this. And then it makes it funny. You see that in South Park or Family Guy, they use these even shapes. But in animation movies, you see them using all this variation in their designs. You can also, for example, use that in drawing the head. So for example, if we divide this in 3 even parts, and then we have here the mouth and then the nose in the middle, it's kind of boring, but you can make it more interesting if you, for example, put this mouth, maybe give this mouth here and give him this this nose here maybe, and then here this mouth shape, this is small. Maybe we can make this mouth even smaller like this, and this nose even a bit bigger, and then maybe do the eyes like this here. So you're playing around with the proportions, and so you could do this, or maybe if you have this shape, you can put the nose here and the mouth down, and then the eyes here. So he's this really big forehead. So, and then the ears here. So this can be quite boring and stiff. It's so totally okay if you're using it for South Park or Family Guy, but you want to play around with the diversity a bit. And that's what I try to show here a bit, trying using different sizes of shape to create different characters. Think a bit of like when you're drawing a letter. So that's really stiff and even. And it's more appealing if you're drawing a character and play around with the angles and the distance. So making it more diverse. Thinking of it when you, for example, if you're drawing a snowman, this is okay snowman. So maybe put the eyes and the nose and the mouth. But it would be more interesting if you already did this small head, medium torso, and then so this would already be a bit more interesting. But I think what would be more interesting is if you use a big head, small body, medium at the bottom, and then give him a big nose like this, and it's already making it funny. So something like this, and maybe a small head that has a different angle. So here, it's a bit like, I use 3 shapes, because with 2 shapes you only have the choice between small and big. But with 3 you have big, and then you have medium, and you have small. So then you can play around more and more with these shapes. So I use the number 3 a lot, because 4 is often too much, and 3 is just, it's perfect for creating balance or creating interesting composition. So small, medium, big, and you can play around with that. And that's what I wanted to tell. So that's how I work in creating these, creating characters. And if you want to see more longer videos of each week, I give a 1-hour lesson plus 1 hour feedback for everyone who sends their work.